Ebusuya mpanimfo se anka edan etese adaka anka obia de ne de ebetu kwan. Ye woni pa hodo bebra wonya akwanya etime si dan ewo man Ghana mu. Na emom se wonso no akwanya bia ba se o eye aburuchire ha na obetimi atodan a ebusuya mekanfo eye sa page we e de amount just share it. Abrantie we eye abrantie a odin komo efa eye ekwan a betimi afaso atodan ewa aburuchire ha titiri mu amwo Canada ene eye American potimo no so pese wo todan a ana wa todan na wie na pese wo yemu no ma ana so pese wo sisi mu eye mu enoma bi nketenkete bi a abrantie no e de akwanya ba beto a wo kyerɛkyerɛ ekwan a obefa so abetodan page ne da ho no obetimi a like na wa subscribe no wa follow no se efa eye event se eye wedding se eye abedintuo se eye parties ahodo se eye nhyiemu se bia ekuokuo mu pese mu kɔ baabi nhyiemu ana se mu pese mu kɔgye baabi eye parties ahodo a ebusuya menfo ni nkyerɛ baabi a se London Eye Luxury Gateway Apartment omo obia ye kama obetimi akɔgye na wode aye o party wedding engagement baabi a omo sawo eye biaye kama edan kama a omo sisi mu kama a obetimi akwa spend eye o honeymoon no kura ewo ho na kyese wode eye ebo baako ba bekum eye enoma mienu ebusuya London Eye Luxury Gateway Apartment de ebusuya yetu omo so a ne asori
mami location mami location
no more blinded
mami location oba mami location.
Hello everyone, this is Justice here from Just Sharing. If this is your first time here, please be sure to like our video, subscribe, and hit the notification button so that every time I upload a new video, you're going to be the first person to receive the video. So today we are here to talk about first-time home buyers experience, expectations, and how to prepare yourself for this journey, which always ends in joy. You know, if you buy your house, that is when you are living the dream. And I can assure you that you watching me today, you are here because you have thought of buying your house for the very first time. You are in the right place. I'm here to guide you through the processes. I'm here to tell you, share my own personal experiences with you. Some of the things I did which helped me through the process, the challenges I faced so that you can prepare well for what is ahead of you. As we all know, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So let's get into it. So now you have months of thinking. You want to buy a house. This is your very first time of you buying a house. And you're asking yourself, can I really go through this process? Yes, you can. I'm going to tell you why. You only have to prepare for the process. So far as I have been able to do it, I can assure you, you can also do it. And I'm going to guide you through the process. Before I get even to the detail of the actual process of buying a house, I want us to first think of the people who are involved in the house buying process. The number one person who is a key ingredient in the process is you, the buyer. You are setting out to buy a house. We have what we call the seller. So the seller can be a family who is either upsizing or downsizing. The seller can be an investor who bought a house, flip it, and they're selling it. Or it can be an investor who has a couple of properties as a new development and they are selling them. In whatever case, whatever the seller is, you are still the key ingredient because they are there because of you. They want your business. But in the process, you have to also make sure that all your T's are crossed and all your I's are dotted. So I'm going to guide you through the process. So as a buyer who has set off to buy a house for the very first time, you have a very difficult and challenging task. you have a couple of processes that you have to go through. So I always tell people, in order for you to be successful in this process, you have to first of all prepare yourself mentally, prepare yourself emotionally, and also prepare yourself financially. What do I mean by preparing yourself mentally? As part of the processes, either the bank or the mortgage company is going to ask you for a couple of documents, a sensitive document, starting from your W-2s, and I'm going to go through all those documents you will need from you when we get to what we call the pre-approval processes. So sometimes you may even send a document to them and they will still request for the same document. What I encourage you to do, apart from preparing yourself mentally, is to get your own printer, because you can't go to Staples every single time you have to print a document. You can't go to Staples every single time you have to scan something and email it to them. So it's going to save you a lot of money if you can get your own personal printer in the house, so that whatever document they ask you, either you print them or you kind of scan it and send it to them. So preparing yourself mentally is going to put you in a very good position to respond to all the inquiries they will be sending to you. If you don't prepare yourself mentally, I can assure you, you are going to get frustrated along the way. And that is not a good thing for you, because you are buying a house, you are actually going to a long-term contract. Mortgages can be either 30 years, 15 years, or 25 years. So you want to make sure that before you sign any contract, the house is whatever you want. It meets your needs and the needs of your family. In order for you to do that, you have to mentally be sound in order to go through the process. The second preparation I will encourage you to do is to prepare yourself emotionally. What do I mean by emotionally here? Listen, you can have all the documents that they are asking of you. You can have all the monies. When I talk of the money, I'm talking of your down payment, your closing costs, and all the financial responsibilities as expected of you. Yet, you will not get a house that you want. It happened to me. Not once, not twice, but 3 times. So I saw a house. I wanted to buy the house. I loved the house because the way the house was designed just met all my family needs. And so we decided to put an offer on the house. And we were called back that another offer has been accepted already. That really struck me and my family very hard, because we did love the house. We went to visit the house, to see the house during the open house. And when we were going back, we were so happy talking about what we will do in the house. And later we were told another offer has been accepted. So my point is, it's going to affect you emotionally. You are a human being. You don't just choose a house. You choose a house that you think you and your family will enjoy. Though the house is not yours, but for even you to consider it in the first place means that you have thought about the house. So if you don't get a house, what do you think is going to happen? It's going to affect you emotionally. And if you are not careful, it will affect your next open houses, and you may not put much energy into it. So remember, if it happens to you, Justice from Just Sherry told you, it's part of the process. The last preparation is a financial preparation. There's going to be a couple of responsibilities financially you, the buyer, you are going to pay for. The first one is what we call the inspection. So you saw a house, you love the house, you want to buy the house. The very first process is the inspector has to go to the house, inspect the house to make sure that the house is sound. There's no structural damages. There is no termite infestation. Neither there is a mold infestation. The inspections of the house doesn't really consider much of the cosmetics, much of the design or your patios that you have outside. No. It's looking at the foundational structure of the house. It also makes sure that the house has not been modified in any way. So here in the US, yes, you have a house, but you can't just get up one day and add another room to the house without proper permit. So as part of the inspection, they will make sure that the house is as it is according to the original plan. Or if there's any modification to the house, it has proper documentation. It is a responsibility of you, the buyer, to pay for the inspection of the house. Then you move on to the next stage, which is called appraisal. So now you've moved on to the next stage. The bank want to give you the money. The bank is an investor, meaning the bank is not giving you the money because they love you. The bank is giving you the money because they think that they can also make money off you, because you're going to pay back the loan plus interest. So the bank wants to make sure that you are giving the actual money for the value of the house. What do I mean by actual money for the value of the house? So if the house is worth 500,000, the bank is not going to give you 700,000. How did they know that? That's the work of the appraisal. So the appraisal comes, they do what we call comps. They look at the buyer's market and the seller's market. How many houses is on sale in the area where you want to buy your house? And how many sellers are willing to buy from the same area where you want to buy your house? And they're going to look at how much the last house on the block where you want to buy your house sold for. They'll put the numbers together and they'll give it to the bank. Then the bank will move forward with the numbers when they are convinced with it. So normally, the bank is going to either send their own appraisal, which if they do, you are still going to be responsible for that at the closing cost. Or they are going to recommend a company that you can use. When it happens that, then you're going to pay out of pocket and it will not be added to the closing cost. But either way, you, the buyer, you are responsible for that. Then you move on to what we call the down payment. So now you've gone through the inspection, the appraisal has been done. So the down payment is your commitment as a buyer to the seller that I'm ready to buy this house. So the down payment varies depending on the kind of loan that you are using. If it's an FHA loan, it is always going to be 3.5% of the total amount you want to borrow. FHA loans is one of the loans that most people in the middle classes, including myself, use, because with a credit score of 580, you can easily get an FHA loan. But if you want to get a conventional loan, then your credit score has to be 620 or higher. Conventional loans normally ask for 20% down. But if you're a first-time home buyer, you can put as low as 3% or 5% if you, the buyer, the income annually is 80% higher than the median income in your area where you live or where you work. The last one is what they call the VA loans, which is for veterans. So once again, you, the buyer, you're supposed to give this down payment. So the higher the amount of the house, the higher your down payment is going to be. So if it's 700,000, if let's say you're using the FHA loan, it's going to be 3.5% of the 700,000. So now after you do that, the house will go under contract, where the bank will do all their checks. They will set the title to make sure there's no lien on the house. When I talk of lien, I'm going to discuss that in the later videos. But lien could be, for example, you didn't pay for your taxes. So they put a lien on the house from your town or your city, saying that you owe the city. So if the house is sold, they have to pay them that money. But we'll leave that for another time. Then once the house goes through the contract can last between 30 days and 60 days, depending if you provide them all the document they're asking for. And at the closing too, it's a responsibility of you, the buyer, once again. So you realize that as a buyer, you have a series of responsibilities financially. So in our next video, we are going to talk about what we call the pre-approval. So before you can even start buying a house, you have to get what we call pre-approval first. The pre-approval will help you know how much you qualify for based on your credit checks, whether you have a co-buyer, a co-borrower, or you are just buying yourself. So it helps you to know what I'll call your purchasing power. So we are going to talk more about how to prepare for the pre-approval. But I want to thank you, all of you, for taking time to watch this video. And please, as I said from the beginning, if you've not subscribed yet, make sure you subscribe. You hit the notification button so that anytime I upload a new video, you'll be the first person to see that. Please share the video, give your comment, and until we meet again, cheers, guys. Once again, this is Justice from Just Sherry.
Intebusunya obetimi a share the videos oko YouTube or so many videos your friend say why ye edi atototo obetimi a subscribe to the channel no send be ya se wo how be e wo edan to mu anas what to dan na wi mpo no se wo ko eye problems bim anas wo how ne amane bi eba wo so a send be ya obetimi adan ho so edan to awa aburuchire maintenance ne de kekeka ho no e wo se wo hunu de wo se wo ye ana wato dan no so na pese wo siesie mu a abrantie no so ebetimi aboa a kyerɛw se bia betimi siesie eye wo dan mu ne ade ebusu nyankopon hyira share sa video we subscribe to eye omo channel no Just Share it. Yeah, send be ya obi follow ni normal oye o de video bia to mu so a obetimi ehu sa video nyankopon ka ho pia